In this video, you are going to learn about the meaning of the exponential growth and decay. We are going to explain how they work and how we can use them in real life. Also, we investigated about the awful incident in Chernobyl and the consequences it brought to our environment and to the people living in that area.
There has been a nuclear accident in the Soviet Union, and the Soviets have admitted that it happened. The Soviet version is this. One of the atomic reactors at the Chernobyl atomic power plant near the city of Kiev was damaged, and there is speculation in Moscow that people were injured and may have died. The Soviets may have been fairly quick to acknowledge the accident because evidence in the form of mild nuclear radiation had already reached beyond the Soviet borders to Scandinavia. We begin with ABC's Dean Reynolds.
The most severe accident that has ever taken place in the short history of civilian nuclear power.
Chernobyl is located 130 kilometers north of Kiev, Ukraine. In the 1970s, the 4 nuclear reactors were constructed. The nearest city is Pripyat, with 50,000 inhabitants in 1986. Also, Chernobyl with 12,000 inhabitants. The Chernobyl plant designed and used RBMK-1000 nuclear reactors, and they are now recognized as heavily flawed.
От Совета министров СССР.
An official announcement from the Council of Ministers. There has been an accident at the Chernobyl atomic power station. One of the atomic reactors was damaged. The consequences of the accident are being taken care of. Help is being given to the victims of the accident. A government commission has been set up.
But as the Soviets treat an unknown number of casualties, there's no way to say how much lasting damage that cloud may have already caused.
It worked using uranium to heat water and produce energy. In the most plants, water is used as a coolant, and the reactivity goes down. In this one, they use graphite, and it caused more reactivity.
Whatever did occur there, a radioactive cloud headed north across Poland today and into Denmark, where radiation levels were 5 times normal, to Finland 6 times normal, to Norway up 50%, and Sweden illegally high.
It's almost certain.
Until the accident, there were 50 nuclear reactors operating in the Soviet Union, generating 11% of that nation's electricity. Most of the larger Soviet plants differ in design from U.S. reactors. The major difference is most Soviet nuclear plants do not have containment buildings, the thick concrete dome structures Americans are used to seeing built around U.S. reactors. When the worst American nuclear accident occurred at 3 Mile Island, most leaking radiation was kept inside the containment building, unlike this Soviet accident, where radiation has been measured 600 to 1,000 miles away.
The TMI Act.
In April 26, when they were trying to cool off hot rods, a lot of steam was created, and this caused the reactivity to go up really high, and there was an explosion, setting a chain reaction for other explosions. Radiation was released into the air. 600,000 people were exposed in the long run to the radiation. 2 workers were killed instantly, and many died within hours because of radiation exposure. The radiation release was iodine-131, cesium-134, and cesium-137. Iodine dies within 8 days from being released, but the cesium is still a concern after many years. Immediately, there was a 30-kilometer radius closed, and the Pripyat residents were evacuated. 28 workers died within the first 4 months because of radiation. Some of these voluntarily exposed to high levels so that there wouldn't be more leaks and more people damaged. At first, Russian authorities didn't release information about it, but then a Swedish plant caught high levels of radiation, and they were forced to come clean. Radiation caused a lot of thyroid cancer, but overall the number of cancer cases was less than expected. A lot of panic was created. Pregnant women were told to abort to avoid disabled children, and they weren't even close to the affected area. Shortly after the incident, trees in the woodlands died because of radiation, and the trees turned ginger, known as the Red Forest. The damaged reactor was fastly sealed in a concrete sarcophagus to avoid more radiation coming out. Despite the incident, the Chernobyl nuclear plant continued to function until 2000. In 2011, Ukraine opened a tour to see the disaster firsthand. The area is predicted to be again habitable for humans in 20,000 years.
Exponential growth is one of the most common time paths exhibited by systems in the world. It is a development at an increasingly rapid rate in proportion of the growing total number or size. Constant rate of growth applied to a continuously growth base over a period of time. Here is an example. We have dealt with linear functions earlier. All types of equations containing two unknown x and y variables may be inserted in a coordinate system. These types of equations are known as functions. A straight line is known as a linear function. The function need not necessarily respond like a straight line equation. For example, if we have 50,000 deposited in the bank and receive a 2% interest annually, our investment shall increase. The formula for exponential growth of a variable x at the growth rate r as time t goes on the discrete intervals. Some of the main characteristics are a equal initial amount before measuring growth decade, r growth decade rate of 10%, x number of time intervals that have passed. Exponential decay is an original amount is reduced by a consistent rate over a period of time, a decrease that follows an exponential functions. Here's an example. Monday, Ledwid's cafeteria serves 5,000 customers. On Tuesday morning, the local news reports that the restaurant fails health inspection and has yikes violations related to pest control. Tuesday, the cafeteria serves 2,500 customers. Wednesday, the cafeteria serves only 1,250 customers. Thursday, the cafeteria serves a measly 625 customers. Some implications of using nuclear energy is environmental impact. The process of mining and refining hasn't been very clean. Transporting the nuclear fuel represents pollution hazard, and when the fuel is used is radioactive and dangerous. Nuclear accidents also are an implication because the radioactive waste produced can cause health issues in people as in the environment, and also the high cost, and because of all this nuclear energy is not considered a clean energy. Mexico has 2 nuclear reactors generating almost 4% of its electricity, and there is some government support for expanding nuclear energy to reduce reliance on natural gas. But recent low gas prices have overshadowed this. The only nuclear plant that exists in Mexico is the Laguna Verde nuclear power plant that is in Veracruz. Having a nuclear energy plant in our country could be a dangerous thing because it can explode any moment, and there is radiation that can affect all the people of Veracruz. Having this plant in Mexico, maybe it's a good thing because of all it generates, but it's very important its maintenance. The Chernobyl disaster could have been prevented if the Chernobyl nuclear power plant in Ukraine had been better designed and run by professional engineers and well-trained people. The test experiment was badly timed in the quality research and poorly conducted. The reactor was operated at levels beyond normal safe conditions throughout the process of the experiment. In addition, the reactors had no containment buildings to prevent the realization of radioactive materials. There was no way to stop the radiation from spreading. As soon as it happened, 20 million countries of radioactivity were released, 30 times the nuclear fallout that occurred at Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
The released cloud of radiation tracked much of the northern latitudes during the first week following the accident. Within a few weeks, the radioactive effluents had both diffused and decayed to undetectable levels. It traveled in a northwest direction toward Sweden, Finland, and Eastern Europe, but the quantity of radiation diminished within a few weeks and didn't reach Latin America or South America. Nuclear technology, including nuclear weapons, have the job of ionizing radiation. This is a poison made from different types of isotopes. Some of these isotopes could persist only for hours or days, others for weeks or months, or even billions of years. The radiation emerged by these weapons not only affects the health of the people and causes cancer and malformations, but it also damages the environment. The environmental impacts caused by the nuclear industry are that the nuclear weapons pollute vast amounts of soil and water. Many of the substances released are plutonium, uranium, strontium, cesium, benzene, polychlorinated biphenyls, mercury, and cyanide are carcinogenic and/or mutagenic. These chemicals can remain dangerous for hundreds or even thousands of years. It also contributes a very small amount of emissions into the atmosphere, which can cause many environmental problems such as global warming. Nuclear weapons are hazardous for the health of the people and the environment. We think that the government should stop producing nuclear weapons because they are dangerous, and to clean the damage that they make takes about more than 250,000 years. Currently, there is no solution to the problem of radioactive waste. There are no technologies or methods that could clean the radiation, so one solution could be to stop completely the production of nuclear weapons. We think that the topic of Chernobyl was interesting because we learned many stuff and many facts that we didn't know. Also, we learned that there is a nuclear plant in Mexico, and we practice the use of exponential growth and decay in our real lives. We liked that we spent more time together working, and it was a fun way to do the project. Exponential growth is one of the most common time paths exhibited by systems in the world. It is a development at an increasingly rapid rate in proportion to the growing total number or size. Constant rate of growth applied to a continuously growing base over a period of time. Here is an example. We have dealt with linear functions earlier. All types of equations containing two unknown x and y variables may be inserted in a coordinate system. These types of equations are known as functions. A straight line is known as a linear function. The function did not necessarily respond like a straight line equation. For example, if we have 50,000 deposited in the bank and receive a 2% interest annually, our investment shall increase. The formula for exponential growth of a variable x at the growth rate r as time t goes on in discrete intervals. Some of the main characteristics are A equals initial amount before measuring growth decay, R equals growth decay rate, often a percent, and X equals the number of time intervals that have passed.